And we're back in the garden again this week. Dabney is back. Thanks for coming in, Dabney.
Sure, my pleasure. Good morning.
How are you holding into this heat so far?
I'll tell you, I'm trying to chill.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool in the studio, but one thing that you got in for this week and one thing that we're going to kind of talk about is hot weather, how these plants can cope in this hot weather that we have.
Well, because of this stress, we brought a little dish garden along. You know, I had two problems this morning. That's why I brought this particular plant. First of all, Russ, the photographer, says I got to keep it low. Can't cover our faces up.
Yeah.
And of course, Don likes man-type plants, so he doesn't want all these frilly blooming things. So we brought the cactus and succulents along. And of course, with the weather what it is right now, these are great to grow, and they're great for containers. You can have them indoors, outdoors, and you know. You go away on vacation, you don't have to worry about somebody coming in and watering this plant because they're good for 30, 60 days without watering.
Wow, that's great.
And succulents do bloom, but they're not noted for their flowers in most cases, like, you know, our regular plants that we have out in the yard, such as the tropicals and the begonias and things.
Yeah.
But they are tough plants.
So when you go to the store and you see those little red flowers on top of the plants, those are just glued on?
Yes. Most times when yes, you're right. When
So
you
you gotta
see
watch
some
out.
cactus gardens, they're just glued on there. But now cactus do bloom, but they don't bloom very frequently. And of course, that's why they glue those little flowers on to trick you into buying them.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. And so we kind of, a little bit of, that's a good tip for a hot weather plant right there. Now, what about for some other things? There's a question here from David. He'd like to see if you have some suggestions for some vegetables that he can plant right now for this during this hot weather spell.
Yeah, now's a good time to get a second crop of squash in, okra, butter beans, a late crop of cucumbers, because keep in mind anything in probably what you're going to find now are seed packets. Now, you're not going to find a lot of plants available because the problem is not that we can't have the plants ready, but because we grow them in greenhouses, and it's even hotter in greenhouses, they come up one day and in 3 days they've outgrown the container they're in. So primarily going to do seed, but just check the pack of the seed, and if on the back of that packet, and if it says 60 days or 70 days, you know, you count back and you say we got plenty of time to do it. In case of squash, most of the time they're 30 or 45 days.
Okay, yeah, so squash is a fairly quick growing plant. I know cucumbers grow pretty quick
and then next month, believe it or not, we'll be putting seed in for the fall garden. So, you know, there's always something for the gardener to do in the vegetable garden.
Yeah, exactly. That's good to see. Now, a question here from Walton, also kind of Kevin too, talks about this gardenias. How do you control them? When is the best time to really prune them and trim them back?
Yeah, we've had mild winters for the last 2 or 3 years, and a lot of the varieties of gardenias do get large. You really need to resist pruning this time of year, because the problem is, you know, most things we say let them bloom and then prune. But the problem is in gardenias, you prune them now, they go into winter soft. What we mean by soft, tender growth, and there's more risk of freezing out. So you're better off to prune your gardenias in March. They bloom on new growth, so by pruning in March, you'll get more new growth, you'll get more blooms.
Okay, and then I have a question for you, Dabney. I'm growing some basil and also some sage in my garden at home, and just on some containers. They're about this high, so about a foot or so high. How far should I trim them to kind of continue them to grow, and then I can still harvest it too?
Probably about a third, half.
Third, okay.
Yeah, I mean, any of herbs like that, they're fast growers, as you found out, and of course, the more you cut off, the more you can use. And just keep in mind, though, as you're cutting and pruning off, be sure and fertilize, because you want to regenerate growth faster back on the plant.
Good tips, all right.
And on herbs, we use fish emulsion is great fertilizer, something with a high first number. Anytime we're trying to promote growth, we want something with a high first number. When we're trying to encourage fruit, such as tomatoes, we use a fertilizer with a high middle number.
Okay. All right, good tips, great tips again from Dabney. If you want to get more tips, we have a bunch of these little Q&A sessions on our page at wavy.com. We'll be back with some more news and weather. Let's check the weather right after this.